Ventiend getting them from Sweden, Germany and Austria. Austria, Germany, Sweden, Ukraine. Republic of China is formed. Allied to Hunan and Yunnan. So this is the Entente clique, basically. I believe that the Republic of China can eventually join. Wait, that's Commune of France. Hang on. Oh, that's French Republic. I was looking at the wrong nation. It's like, huh? They are... Wait, no, this was the right one. Sparta of the East. Interesting. Don't know which side these guys can join. I think it's Entente, though. So that is Commune of France support, but that's KMT. Which France is... Yeah, it is KM. It is Commune, because it's got the syndicalist cogs. That's New Guangxi, Right KMT faction. Gotcha. But I didn't think that Right KMT would join... the French. Right KMT can ally with the International if they're allied with the left KMT. And... I don't think they are. I don't know. I'll admit I have not played as these Chinese factions, so I'm not entirely sure how that works. Meanwhile, let's move on to other things, because Bulgaria is moving easily across the Ottomans. The Ottomans are looking very much like they are a shadow of their former selves. They still have a lot of troops in the army. But where are they? They're all down here. And there we go, the Ottomans have capitulated. Did the Cairo Pact... No. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Why were all of their troops down here? And yet, that was not occupied territory. I have no idea. But well done, Bulgaria, taking out the Ottomans there. And it looks like the Egyptians took some land, Persia took some land. Cool. Bulgaria is growing fast now. I mean, Bulgaria often does. It's definitely like a really, really small Reichspact nation, but it has lots of space to grow, which is one of its strengths, and it has just done so. Yeah, I guess Cairo Pact just took a bunch of land. Anyway, AUS is slowly being eaten by the USA. USA, I think, is making a bit of a mistake focusing so heavily on this area. Are they just trying to make sure that they take all of that territory before the PSA does? Because deal with the devil means the PSA can't. If they want to end this, they should be attacking down here. Go for Dallas, go for Austin, go for San Antonio, go for, most importantly, Houston. Or maybe this is just kind of a lucky accident. Because AOS does seem to have quite a few troops defending down here, and I guess they're just having an easier time attacking into this. Karapak gets a coded peace deal, and when the Ottoman army was black flagged, they couldn't get back in time to stop the Bulgarians. Ah. Yes, it's Kansas. Doing anything there is a mistake. Focusing on the AUS seems like the best idea. Oh, it is! Absolutely, but this is not how you capitulate the AUS. This is how you capitulate the AUS. Because there just aren't enough big cities up here to actually get you victory points. Dallas is, Houston is, Austin is, and San Antonio is. Unless they want to attack here and then go south. Which I guess they could, but all the rivers, like, come out this way. Once you're across, you're across. I think it's just that they've been meeting less opposition up here and they just have this kind of on autopilot. Although, there's no order here. Oh, yes, there is. Or maybe there was. And there's just no arrow anymore. I don't know. It looks like the AUS is as good as dead, and then the real fight between the PSA and the AUS can begin. Sorry, the PSA and the USA. So the PSA, at the moment, has got about 40 divisions to America's 176. They've got about 70 factories to the 119. And the Americans are about to get another 15 factories. So they'll have 130 to the 70. So basically 2 to 1 in terms of industrial output, and then more than that in terms of troops. So the USA should be able to make pretty good progress against the PSA, except for the fact that it's the Rockies and the Sierra Nevadas to fight across. Meanwhile, Fentiang fighting against Qing. It does look like Fentiang is coming around the back, as I kind of thought they might. Oh! No, they've broken across. So the League of Eight Provinces is starting to lose some ground here. They are fighting back. It looks like the Russians are the ones leading the push. And there we go. AUS has now fallen to the USA. And suddenly, America is very divided in half. So let's go to the USA and just look at the scramble to try and get into position. PSA is doing the same thing. USA is moving. They've done this as one giant Marshall front line, though they've done it in the old default. I really wish this wasn't the default because it's such a bad system. Method where there's an army in each area rather than just spreading across the whole thing, especially because he's just using a field marshal order. Like, if you're going to use a field marshal order, hold down shift and then assign the front line from the field marshal. And then what that does is all of these units will then basically be assigned to the field marshal, and they'll just be put wherever the field marshal feels that they should do. It's one giant army line. Whereas if you do it this way, then each army, so you've got like Omar Bradley down here assigned to this bit, you've got Walter Kruger assigned to this bit, you've got Lucien Tuscott assigned to this bit, and it's just a lot messier. And the AI is very bad at like reassembling the orders based on the changing line. Whereas if it's just one line, then it will evenly assign all the troops across that line. And you can still assign generals individually if you want to. So say you've got all 5 of them under one field marshal, and one of these guys is a armor general, then you can basically say these 4 are assigned to the field marshal, and then this guy has his own order. It's just a much, much, much better system. I hate the fact that this is the default, especially if you're just going to be using field marshal orders anyway, as this player has. But yeah, the USA has done a really good job of just pumping out more and more troops. Definitely has had his grip well and truly on this war so far, and I've got to hand it to him. USA has fought a very good civil war. Hasn't really been in any threat of annihilation. He's consolidated and held the northeast very well. He attacked into the CSA, took the vital provinces of New York and Pennsylvania very quickly, finished off the CSA, fought a bit of a grueling war against the AUS, particularly because the AUS wasn't being supported by volunteers. It took maybe a bit longer than he'd hoped. But otherwise, yeah, nice. No real complaints. Meanwhile, Fentiang being well and truly stymied, well, not really well and truly, but being slightly slowed by Qing government. Qing is probably capitulating relatively soon. They have lost an awful lot of men. 850,000 against the 280,000 now. And Shandong has fallen completely. I don't know how they did this quickly. Like, this crossing should not have been so easy to to do. I guess it's because League of Eight provinces are spread thin because they're trying to defend Qing at the moment. If only they'd sent troops when the front line was this. If it had been the combined Qing and Nanjing forces defending this line, then I think that Fentiang would have been forced to call Japan in to launch naval invasions. What's the template he uses? I'm not allowed to check templates. The earliest I can see templates is Second World War, but if the Second World War breaks out this session, I probably won't do it until next. That's what I did last time. I think it's a pretty fair way of doing it. So no focuses, technologies, or templates, or construction tabs. Like, I'm not allowed to go onto this production tab on the players. Germany declared war on Lithuania. That's a big Lithuania. Revolt in the Reichspakt. After the fall of the Russian Empire, Germany occupied vast swathes. Oh, Lithuania rose up. Okay, so that's Lithuania trying to get independence. And Germany going, no! However, this is going to have another interesting bearing, because now that they're at war with Lithuania, all of their volunteers are being sent home. Okay, so the other question was, how are things going over here? Argentina looks like they are well and truly smacking down the combined Chilean Patagonian uprising. So Argentina is very much a Reichspakt supporter and are being supported by the Reichspakt. So it looks like the Reichspakt are going pretty heavily towards getting South America on their side. Brazil right now has gone for Vargas. I keep thinking this is Snake Vargas. This isn't Old World Blues, this is Kaiserreich. That could have been one of the interesting crossovers, actually. If Vargas takes over in Brazil, then he becomes Snake Vargas. Although that's technically Wasteland, not Old World Blues, but still. It's still in Old World Blues. Now I'm rambling. But Brazil. Can Brazil join any of the factions? I know they can join Portugal. British capital, like Canadian capital, German capital. That's Left Front. That's Social Democrats, but I still don't think that's quite enough for Third International. Imperial Brazil can join the Entente. Entente or Reichspakt, okay. What's the UK doing? So far, Canada's been pretty quiet. They finally sent volunteers. Canada is finally sending volunteers to the USA. 1st of July 1938. No Lend-Leases. They've got all of West Caribbean forces, and yeah, an explosion of the Americans across the PSA. I kind of foresaw this happening. PSA have been caught complete... It's the Michigan disaster again. This is what happened last time. Almost identical, except it's up here in Wisconsin. Still the Upper Peninsula, which is Michigan, instead of the peninsula of Michigan. But because of that, they've got no troops left on the main front line, and LA has already fallen. So yeah, the Civil War is over. Like I said, PSA was never really a threat. As soon as the AOS was taken in that regard, PSA just couldn't. Yeah, USA is winning in a big way now. Exactly. I'm surprised at how quickly they pushed across here. These must be light tanks. Nope, they're militia. Interesting. But force-marched militia, which is smart. And that's Canadian cavalry, which the American militia can then force-march to reinforce. Makes sense. French Marines, yeah, all of the volunteers are now just punching across, going like, we need to take as much of the Rockies right now as possible. Like, the more of the Rockies we can take without fighting for them, the better. And they're on the outskirts of San Francisco. PSA is halfway to capitulation already. That's pretty huge. And they're clearing up this pocket really quickly. Like, this is a strong USA. Vargas Brazil is Reichspakt aligned. Gotcha. Integralists join the Entente. I knew the Empire joined Entente. But that's not the Empire. That's not Maximilian. No, it's not Maximilian. That's, again, Old World Blues. Or is it Maximilian? Who's the Emperor? I can't remember. Use focus tree search for alliance foci. I didn't think they had one. And what would you search for? Alliance? Faction? Yeah, see, I didn't think that this would actually help. Nothing. There's nothing below. See? Nothing. Faction sooner focuses for Brazil their eventual decisions, which is what I was assuming. Hence, no search. Okay, so, USA is continuing to push into the PSA. PSA has just completely crumbled. I don't think I've seen the PSA fall this quickly before. And oh no, that's Lithuania. Knight of Plantagenet. Amilcor. Lazenbaked. Vontafo. Strupa. Kerem Talha. And Dippin' Dots. Thank you very much for the follows. Welcome to the channel. Fritter wants me to drink some tea. And Colinus. Hey, Crow. Heard of the Old World Blues ERB mod, right? ERB mod. I know that they did a crossover for April Fools. I think it was April Fools. Along with Equestria at War. Old World Blues, Equestria at War, and Kaiserreich did a crossover. Which one day I need to play. That's something I've meant to do for a while, and then I kind of forgot about it, and then I remembered again. Pedro! That's the Emperor. As the AOS in the Civil War, is it worth to make tanks or just infantry with artillery? I mean, generally just infantry and artillery because you need to control such a large front line. But if you can get some tank divisions or motorized divisions for pushes, then it's a good idea. Oh, it's the Enclave. Enclave Reborn. Okay. How was that relevant? Sorry, because I was talking Old World Blue crossovers with Kaiserreich, my mind didn't immediately go to Enclave. But yes, I've heard of it. What happened to the shoutouts? They were too difficult to do. To try and think of something interesting and nice to say about everyone and make it personally tailored is just like, no. And here we go. Outskirts of Sacramento is being attacked right now. And they just keep on expanding outwards. Like, the PSA just can't physically contain all of this. There's just too many units. Oh, what a horrible, sad demise of the PSA. I didn't really expect very much from them, but still. This is going to be an incredibly strong USA. Who's USA being played by? Because they've done this very well. Necron Slave number 1. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that they've named themselves that because I can't shout out players now. That's on them though. Would be nice to see a strong USA this time though. Yeah, that's true. And a Canada that's actually built stuff like 67 factories. That's like 20 factories more than Canada had last time, 2 years from now. How did they do so badly? I just don't get it. Oh! Meanwhile, Fentieng is starting to see some expansion. They've got a big cutoff of... Well, actually, it's not a cutoff, technically. This is a cutoff. No, that's not. That's a cutoff, so it's 2 units. However, if League of 8 provinces have units stuck behind the lines here, which they do... Only a few, though. 1 army. 7 men. League of Provinces only have 15 divisions outside. What's happened to them? 200,000 deaths. 20 factories still. I'd expect them to have more divisions in the field than they do right now. Especially considering League of Provinces can have the strongest industry. And they have gone for the reconstruction crews, although they're civilian. I think it's just the fact that this is such an early war that they've not had the chance to build up the industry. Like, Fentieng really... I mean, they needed to. Qing and League of Provinces can really build up, especially the League. And Fentieng getting that war off as quickly as they did. They kind of got unlucky that the League joined Qing. But they've handled the situation pretty well thereafter. Part of it being because their allies have been sending volunteers pretty much consistently. Although Reichspakt is still here defending the League now. What's Russia doing? Russia's in a war against Alish Order. Okay. So Russia has begun to expand. Taking down here, although it looks like Turkestan's going to take the majority of it. But straight after this, Russia can then go for Turkestan and can actually get a much bigger surround now. So that's going to be good. Also, Russia can't send volunteers anymore because they're at war. Isn't CoPro sending volunteers to PSA? They were, but they were caught so out of position. I don't think even volunteers would have helped. I mean, it's what, 4 divisions defending how many provinces? Just the American breakthroughs were just so significant. Nothing you could really do about it. Except maybe pull back your volunteers and defend, like, the capital. So defend Seattle, defend LA, defend San Francisco. But that's all they could really have done. Like, I can't blame the volunteer nations for this. This was not on them. This was the fact that the USA managed to get such a big cutoff up here. Love to see the PSA hiding in Seattle for the whole game. Well, let's see what the volunteers are doing. Yeah, see, here we go. Philippines doing exactly what they need to do and just defending Seattle. Just make it hard for them to capitulate. Although PSA is going to collapse. They're on 100%. They're done. Midnight tonight. Boom. And there we go. American Civil War is over. I wanted to see what the date was. Two wars ending on the same day, though. There we go. 5th of September 1938. That's a quick civil war. Well played to the US. Well played indeed. That was very nicely done. Hey, Colonus. Hey, Colinus, rather. I read Colinus and Corona at the same time, so it became Colonus. Sorry. And yeah, America not doing too hot with Corona at the moment. Particularly Florida. And some other places. Anyway, Madras looks like they're going to be the next on the cutting board for the Dominion of India. Dominion has already had the unification event, I think. Oh, we've got the South African Civil War. We have got the two sides. Nobody supporting the Union. India sending Lend-Lease. So which side? Okay, so India sending Lend-Lease to the South African Revolt. While the Union of South Africa, which wasn't updating for some reason... Oh, it's because I wasn't clicking, I was control clicking. That's on me. So no one really getting involved in South Africa. Which is a little bit of a surprise, because South Africa is a big source of chromium. Who would want chromium especially? Probably Germany, so the Reichspakt. So if the Union won, this would be good for the Reichspakt. And the Entente... and probably Third International would want to stop them getting it. But yeah, I feel like the Union could do with getting some volunteers. Little Africa sent some, but Reichspakt have not. And the Union... or the Revolt are getting some from the US and France. Right! The US can now start sending volunteers to everyone and their dog. That's another big deal. Oh, for Pete's sake. I hate that bug. So annoying. Meanwhile, Matagalpa. Oh no, this is Nicaragua. Province of Matagalpa. Currently fighting against El Salvador. El Salvador getting Austrian volunteers. Nicaragua not getting any. What's chromium for other than heavy tanks? Capital ships. Capital ships and tier 4 ships. And the Reichspakt should probably be pursuing fleet and being, so they need chromium. Entente should definitely be pursuing fleet and being, at least Canada. USA could go base strike. I don't remember if carriers use chromium. I know regular capitals do. Yes, they do. Not a huge amount, mostly steel. They do use some. Battleships I know do. And then top tier ships do. Yeah, heavy ships use them all throughout. Cruisers I don't think do. No, cruisers are just steel. As are destroyers until tier 4, at which point everyone uses them. Okay, good. Oh, that's another war that's erupted. So we've got the Republic of China, Hunan and Yunnan currently fighting against Chongqing federal government. Chongqing being supported by nobody. Republic of China not being supported by anybody. Like, at all. Probably because the others are getting a little afraid of sending volunteers because of how strong Fentiang's getting, but Fentiang's still not that strong. Like, all of these guys, if they united, could still provide a roadblock, although once League of Six Provinces falls, that's going to be a lot more difficult. We still see Austria, Germany, and Sweden with troops here. I'm a little bit surprised that GEA is not sending the League equipment, seeing as it's not a player, and the AI very often does that. Her nan and my nan fighting. That's family for you. Carriers you really want the highest tier you can get because you can only have 4 per task force. Yeah, that's true. And the higher level carriers get more planes. Don't have man the guns. That tech tree confused me. That's actually Kaiserreich unique tech tree. Like, they've proven they can do it. They just haven't for anything else. And apparently the fact that they have this one tech tree is what stops you from just importing the Road to 56 tech tree. I'd actually kind of prefer if they went back to vanilla on the ship design tech tree part and then just let people create a submod to import Road to 56 tech. Because I think the Road to 56 tech tree on Kaiserreich would be amazing. I'd prefer them if they made their own full tech tree instead of just the ships. But that's not even the man the guns tech tree, that's just a Kaiserreich random tech tree. Always prefer to research T4 ships than use torpedoes and engines in tier 3s, chromium's a pain. I do the same. Tier 4 submarines are far too expensive. I basically never use them. Tier 3s, however, are excellent. But yes, if you can get the tier 4 engines and torpedoes in tier 3s, phenomenal. That's all you need.